the Grade 1 Haskell, and we're getting close to another edition. One of my favorites was Rachel Alexandra beating the boys. Had a chance to be there, and I've had a chance to go to a number of Haskells at Monmouth. The atmosphere is phenomenal. The Jersey racing fans show out on the shore, and consistently they draw a deep field.
They do, and it's looking like we will do the same again this year. And it's really important with regard to the 3-year-old Eclipse Award. The championship is still very much on the line. You know, we've seen quite a bit from our Kentucky Derby winner and Mystic Dan. We had a different winner of the Preakness, a different winner of the Belmont. So depending on what happens in this second half of the year, and this is one of those very key races that will affect voters. We took a look back there at Good Magic and his victory. His son, Dornoch, and the full brother to the Kentucky Derby winner from last year, exits a win in the Belmont last time out. And I do love, I think everybody does, that viral clip of Jason Worth screaming, "Get to the rail!" Because what we figured out about Dornoch is he wants to be ridden like he was in the Remsen, on the rail, on the lead. That's when you get your best race from him. I think post position will be key, and obviously tactics. Luis Saez knows him so well, but I think that's where you're going to see him to run his best race and to hopefully hold off other challenges.
Yeah, better than the viral clip of Danny Gargan yelling at the stewards on opening day at Saratoga. But those connections are back with Dornoch. When you look at the last race for each of these horses, I want people to look at Fierceness, 15th in the Kentucky Derby, Timberlake, 4th in the Arkansas Derby. It wasn't supposed to be like this for either of these 3-year-olds. Can they regain the luster they have certainly lost?
I think with Fierceness, you know, he's proven time and time again to be a little bit of a finicky horse. If he doesn't get what he wants, if he doesn't get the trip that he wants, you really don't see that A race. And so I have my doubts about Fierceness as we come in to this race and really to the second half of the season. For all intents and purposes, Johnny Velazquez did put him off the pace on the outside, seemingly where he wanted to be, but a little bit of adversity, and it really threw him off his game in the Derby. Now, he was also exiting that huge performance in the Florida Derby. You could very well argue that he regressed in the Kentucky Derby, and he couldn't afford to regress against those types of horses, against the best 3-year-olds that we have in the country. So we'll give him another chance, obviously. He's your 2-year-old champion, and he has a race like that in him, but I'm just not confident that he consistently comes with it. Timberlake, I don't think we've seen enough development from. Let's give him more time to see his best.
And then there is Mindframe. While Fierceness and Timberlake had great 2-year-old resumes, no one really knew about Mindframe until this year. And then everyone had the concerns about the outside draw in the Belmont Stakes. Was it too much too soon off an allowance win? And he nearly won that race. He gave Dornoch all he could handle. Kind of odd down the lane, the way Mindframe was. He was wide, then he was dropped down. Is Mindframe, and as we said, he's doing a lot in a short amount of time. Do you expect him to regress off the Belmont Stakes or progress off the Belmont Stakes?
I expect him to progress off the Belmont Stakes, and I expect him to progress really throughout the second half of the season. I think on raw ability, he's one of the most talented horses in this crop. He showed us that with his speed figures in the first couple of starts. But you mentioned everybody having those concerns, Todd Pletcher included, his trainer. Was it too much too soon? Was it in terms of greenness, not necessarily ability or physicality, but did he have the mental wherewithal to perform at that level on a race of that magnitude? And quite simply, with the way he ran, he didn't. He was still learning, and it was no fault of his own in terms of his actual ability. But as soon as he felt the stick, which he never had before because he was so dominant in his first 2 starts, he was all over the racetrack. He lost that race for himself, and we'll see if he rebounds.
And we didn't get the Tuscan Sky, who won the local prep for the Haskell in the Pegasus. What a field it will be. All the latest news. Stay tuned here to FanDuel TV, and remember, you can play the Haskell at FanDuel Racing.